Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about coworkers who complain and not working on the right thing. So let's get into it. So the question in question was a little bit of a story, but it goes, "Hi Frederick, I work in a cross-functional team and my sales representative feels that we are never listening to the customer requests and he feels as if we're never working on the right things. What should I do?" Well, I would open the floor to this person. I would just invite this person and say, please call all of the stakeholders into a meeting. Ideally, all like the POs and your boss, because he probably has a boss, and then you can call in the CEO and the CTO and like all of these people, and tell them how you feel. And then I don't even have to be in the room, and I don't even have to work in your company. I don't have to do anything. I can literally just now pull out from the mystics that is my mind, the mystics that are that is my mind, and pull out the answer. The answer is going to be, but we have all this other stuff that we need to get done. We have this backlog, and we have these customers and these stakeholders, and we need to be working on this and that and that. And before that conversation is over, only one of two things are going to happen. Either your sales coworker is going to convince all of these people that they should change their priorities, or he's going to fold and continue being unhappy with the fact that nobody is hearing him, or well, I don't know if it is a her, him or her, hearing that person out. That's what's going to happen. Because the thing is, what never seems to, like, I have this issue as well. What never seems to sink in on into the minds of these people is that the developers have nothing to do with what the work priority is. What are we going to do? Are we just going to write, like, is the solution here that we write faster? And this never sticks. It never sticks. It doesn't matter how many times I have the same problem. I've had it 100 times before. It doesn't matter how many times we get into, it's the same dance every single time. Problem arises, customer is unhappy, a salesperson comes in and says, shit, we need to reprioritize, we need to do this. Why is it that we can never find time to do these things? And I like, well, the other 1,000 things that the customer has asked for that we didn't have time to do either, or like the other 100 things that we actually did have time because we decided that these things were more priority than anything else. Well, you're not really thinking about that stuff, are you? No, no, of course not, because now there's a new issue, and you already forgot that we have like a backlog now where we are literally sitting and working on the stuff that you complained about 6 months ago. But let's not talk about that. And then everybody gets gathered into a meeting, and this person starts saying that, oh yeah, the customer is really unhappy, etc., etc., etc. And there we developers are now forced to sit there and listen. And then when this person is done talking, we go and say exactly what I say. Hopefully you say something better than what I say, but I usually just look at this person and say, so none of what you have said, it doesn't really matter. I'm sorry. I wish what you said mattered, but it doesn't matter because the answer that you're looking for is not there. I cannot just tell you magically that, yeah, of course we're going to do it, because I have other stuff to do. I promise you, the second the board or the CEO or the PO or whoever is setting the backlog says, yes, let's switch some stuff around, I will gladly leave whatever I'm doing right now and start doing the thing that you want me to do. But that's not how it works. And this is why, like, for me, it's completely like your situation is very similar to mine. There is no, you don't waste energy on this. It's pointless. Don't feel bad about this person who seems to not understand how a company works. If we, the only option is always, literally always, either to add more developers, in other words, more capacity, or change the priorities so that we work on the thing that this person wants to be working on. There's nothing you can do because, like, it's not like you sit there and have nothing to do. It's the fact that Well, usually that's not the case. You always have something to do. You're literally, as a developer, you will always have more to do than you could possibly fit into the backlog. And so that's why we have a PO. That's why we have all these other people to prioritize that work. And if your salesperson is coming to you and complaining about it, then they're going to the wrong person. Just smile, do what I do, smile and say, yes, absolutely, you're absolutely right. And let's just pretend like you're listening to this for the first time, even though you've done it 100 times, and go, I feel for you. I think that you have a really good point. You know what you should do? You should go over to that guy or that girl over there whose job it is to tell me what I should be working on. Go and talk to them. And I promise you, the second you can convince them to throw out the things that they think are important, I promise you I will start working on this immediately. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you're dealing with an individual who feels like you're working on the wrong thing, or the company is prioritizing the right sort of work, you really have to go about this the same way practically every single time. You always have the same limitation. Either you find a magical way of doing more work in a shorter amount of time so you can fit that thing in, and I promise you, just because you figure that out, that doesn't mean that they're going to get that specific thing in. It might just be that the people who have the power to actually decide what you're going to work on, they're going to fill up that time too with other stuff that is higher priority. That's why you can never work on all the things. You just have to prioritize stuff because you never have enough developers. It's always easier to have a desire or an unhappy customer or someone who wants you to fix something than it is to add enough people to always meet that demand. It's practically impossible. So don't waste energy on this. Like don't like just smile, agree with them, say that they're absolutely right, and say yes, you should talk to someone who has the authority to make that decision. If you really do believe that they feel like that they have a good idea, then you can help lobby for it. But at the end of the day, if you're not the person who's sitting on the prioritization, aka the person who is the PO or the person who is in charge of the backlog, if you're not that individual, everything you do is a sales pitch towards that person to convince that person to do one of two things every single time. Either hire enough developers or change the scope or whatever so that there is a capacity to take care of that thing, or change the priorities. The equation is very simple, but it's really hard for people who are non-technical to seem to understand this for some reason. I don't get it. I don't get why. Have a great day.